Hello, Tiger fans. Thanks for joining us for a new season of Tiger Timeout on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. The hibernation period, I guess you could call it, for Tiger and Lady Tiger basketball is over. The men's club opens their season this coming weekend. The Lady Tigers have a little bit of time to get ready for that as Coach Ginger High Colvin joins me. Coach, the hibernation period, the long summer, whatever you want to call it, it's like a blink of an eye, but then again, you're always chomping at the bit to get back out there, and now you're at that period where you're so close to opening day.
Yeah, I know.
You ready to pull the hair out, or how does this go down the stretch?
I don't know. It's just, it always gets tricky at this time. And you said long summer. I don't know if it's a long summer. It was, you blink and you're right back at it. And when we come in, you always feel like when you get close to those first games, you don't have enough in. You've got so much that you still need to cover. And the fortunate thing about it is we have mostly everyone back from last year. Well, everyone back from last year and added 2 more. So those 2 are trying to figure things out. And I know it's really hard on them to jump into something that's already established. But we're excited about it and looking forward to it. And it's 9 days. It's not a long time.
It'll be here before
that's
you know
right.
it. And so before we get into it, have you looked at the opposing teams yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
So that's really when you know you're at it, and we'll talk to Coach Vernon about that a little bit later. He started that process for sure. But talk to me about the summer. And there's got to be a decompression stage for you guys, obviously as coaches, and I'm sure players and your kids work so hard throughout the summer. They're here quite a bit.
Right.
And but talk to me about that. How that goes. How long is a good amount of time to get away?
Yeah.
The national tournament is always, it's stressful, it's fun, it's stressful, it's all that stuff that goes into it. It's the culmination of a season. Talk to me about what that looks like, that downtime.
I said when you're a coach, you pick a profession that you're always going to leave with a loss, unless you're that one team that leaves with a win. So you're always leaving, hopefully hungry, hopefully trying to get back out. And I know this group is a really hungry group. The last 2 seasons, I feel like we've caught the hottest team in the NAIA that's gone on to either make it to the finals or to win. And last year we lost 3 games. 2 of them were in the final game of the national tournament. So we've got a lot to be proud of with those kids that we have back. And when we meet at the end of the season, the kids tell me if they want to stick around during the summer. I had several that stuck around this summer just working on their game, and they pick up odd jobs around here and stick around. And that makes me really, really happy that they and some stay at home and work. It's okay that they do that, but it's nice having those kids around and just watching them work and improve on their games.
And then you got to go into full-on parent mode over the summer. You and Coach Vernon spent maybe more time than you spend together in the PAL Center on the golf course with Kobe and Bryce, and it's a good time for us to get to talk about that. I know it was fun for you, maybe stressful, maybe more stressful than being on the sideline coaching.
I think the most stressful thing is being a golf parent. Being a basketball parent is not. It's great. I love watching Kobe play basketball, but I didn't understand the golf aspect. And when we jumped into that, and he's jumped into it full throttle, and that is a hard thing. That is a hard thing, watching your kid. And of course they're on a team, but they're individually out there, and you can't really do anything to help them when things are going bad. But Brent and I got pretty good at hand signals. They're walking down one fairway, you're trying to keep up with how everybody's doing. And obviously Bryce, his son, is an exceptional golfer. And it was so much fun being able to be together and root for our kids, and just watch them be friends and watch them succeed. It's been a lot of fun.
Before we get into the basketball stuff, we'll take a break and talk about that in a moment. But before we do, a big change in the Mid-South Conference. Obviously, teams vacating, Pikeville moving on, Shawnee State moving on, Thomas More leaving the NAIA, Wilberforce no longer a member of the conference. So there's a lot of turnover within this league. UT Southern also out of the league. Going to forget somebody. And then a new commissioner comes in. Eric Leach replaces Eric Ward. So, I mean, it really, I don't know, do you get much of that right now, or is it still kind of feel normal? Maybe it'll change a little bit during the season, but a lot of changes going on.
A lot of changes. The biggest one that hurts the most, I think, is UPike, because UPike's been around since I was a player. They've been in our league since I played, and so it's just a comfort thing. It was always great to go to Pikeville, which we still have Pikeville on our schedule, and Clifton and I have agreed that we'll continue that relationship because he always puts a good team on the floor. I hate that they left the conference. I think they'll be super successful where they're going. And then other teams that have been in and out of the conference, but like I say, Pikeville probably hated seeing them go the most just because of the tenure that they've had. They've been here forever. And then Thomas More immediately came in and made our league better, made us have to be better. You hate seeing that happen. You hate seeing it go. I've been around long enough to know you can't worry about stuff like that. It's hopefully we'll get some more teams to join and be able to move on. But still a great group. When I was looking over some of the rating stuff, still a really strong group in our conference.
Yeah, no slouches in the Mid-South, and it'll certainly still mean quite a bit to be the last one standing in Bowling Green come season's end. We'll step away, take a break, come back, and visit with the head coach about some Lady Tiger stuff coming up. The Lady Tigers open on the road in Bethel at the Chamber Classic. That's become a staple of their schedule. Stay with us here on Tiger Timeout.
Jason, let's go see your room.
That's not right. How is it? Is it good? Tiger Timeout continues on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we continue to visit with the head coach of Lady Tiger basketball, Ginger. Hi, Colvin. And Coach, we're recording this a little earlier. This thing's going to air Wednesday night. If you're watching it, the top 25 poll will be released prior to this thing going live. And I know it's like a big puzzle that you and other Raiders and coaches are trying to put together. And, the Lady Tigers figured to rank high as they have over the last few years, but there's some really quality teams still in the NAI. One thing you mentioned, though, Thomas More being out, Westmont also leaving the NAIA. The national champion team, Clark, lost most of its roster, at least those kids that did the heavy lifting for them in Sioux City. So it's going to be interesting to see how this shuffle shakes out.
It is. I hate, again, like I see some teams, Westmont's been such a great program in our league for all these years, and they're moving out, and they're gone. They're not on our radar this year, and I hate to see that. You take a team like Clark, I think they'll reload. Obviously, they had 6 super seniors the way we do this year. I hope we can end our season like Clark did. I think they're going to get some pretty good recruiting because they get to play Iowa Caitlin Clark in an exhibition game, so that's going to throw a lot of eyes their way. But some really good teams, Dort, Central Methodist, as we talked, is always going to be loaded. But, it's nice to look at those and look ahead, but, geez, our conference is going to be as good or better as it always is, and it's just something that we have to take a game at a time and get through there.
And we'll talk about some of the games, maybe not if we don't get to them this week, certainly next week, but the scheduling changes. You go down to 28 games. You don't have as many non-conference games. That summer really became about scheduling for you, I think, at times. We would talk back and forth, and it may be a week. Have you got anything? No, nothing new. And then out of the blue, maybe 2 would pop up. I know that was a challenge. Not as many conference doubleheaders. All of the stuff that goes into that made it more difficult.
And a Mid-South school's hard. It's hard to be in the Mid-South and get games because teams don't want to go out and play a Mid-South school because I think traditionally it's just been so strong. And I know when I took the job, Donna told me, said the first thing, she said, scheduling is going to be the hardest thing you do. And I thought, that's crazy. I can schedule scheduling is the hardest thing I do. It is really tough to get games and get teams to come in. So we usually end up traveling. Like this year we're headed to Miami and then over to Puerto Rico just to fill in some games. And we've got some tough teams coming around, and we're going to Faulkner. We're playing some good teams on our schedule. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and there's a few really, games that kind of asterisk on the schedule, non-conference at home, University of Science and Arts coming up, and then you'll have Indiana Wesleyan as well. So, you really did try to, when you lose a couple of games against a team like Thomas More and at least one game this year against a team like Pikeville and different stuff. You really do try to pick that up with some talented teams on the schedule.
We do. I think there were 8 of them. I may misspeak because I was looking at all the rankings. I think 8 of them were national tournament teams last year, 8 of our non-conference. So we've got some good teams that we're going to play, and that's good for us. We don't care to go out and play teams. We want to see where we are and see where we need to get better, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Before I let you go this week, let's talk about the alumni coming back this weekend. That should be a fun time for you guys. I know you typically try to do a little scrimmage early, and then if any of those veterans still want to get out there and do some stuff, you even welcome them out on the court. How does that – the knee braces or ankle braces, are those popular this coming weekend?
I think a lot of ice packs afterwards. Lexi Lake got married. Of course, Shep, we've married her and Shep off, and Caitlin Hall, all in the last year. And so we were at Lexi's wedding. So Savannah, Shep, Sammy Rogers, they all hit me up, Faulkner, about when are we going to have an alumni game, when we need to get together. So they pushed on it, and we've thrown something out there, and we've had a pretty good group saying they're coming back. And then I know some people are going to show up and haven't put in there, but. If you throw Lindsey Bird, Whitney Ballinger, Madison Faulkner, of course Leanne Grider and Emily Fox are not able to play right now.
Yeah, they've got
both are expecting
bigger fish
moms.
to fry.
Yes, they are.
I guess you could
so they
say.
could probably coach. But the group of alumni that could come in and throw a team together would be a little bit scary, I think.
Could you imagine a scenario where Leanne Grider Durham is trying to coach Madison Faulkner? That could be comedy television, and you really need 2 basketballs to try to have this.
It would be worth
one
the price
will
of
work.
admission, I think, for sure. It would be fun to watch those kids, and it's just so nice. And I know some kids from Coach Wise's area coming back too. Some people that I remember her talking about it. Benita Scott has signed up to come back, so I know Coach Wise is excited about seeing her, and I'm sure I have some of my former teammates coming in. So we're really looking forward to it. It's a little tricky because our JV tournament is that day, so we will have 10 players able to scrimmage because Paige Serafini, Bree Gowdy, some of our freshman players play some JV games, and so they won't be able, not freshmen, some of our underclassmen play JV, so we won't be able to have all them at the scrimmage, and I hate that, but
So what
has to happen.
the Faulkners of the world heard was you need help that day, and she's
please don't let Faulkner hear
you
that.
can't to antagonize Madison Faulkner. It is one of life's great joys, and to see the pain, I'll say pain, on your face to have to deal with that. It's one of those things you just you have to grin and bear it.
She showed up at practice last Sunday, and I think she'll be here on Thursday. Sundays and Thursdays, she's going to start coming around a little bit, and she picks and chooses what she wants to do. But all jokes aside, she's a great leader, and man, oh man, was she a great player. And just to have somebody like her and somebody as good a kid as she is around her kids could never be wrong.
Absolutely. Coach, enjoy this last weekend with no basketball.
Right.
I did the math. This past Saturday was my last one with no basketball up until Christmas. So it's all Tiger and Lady Tiger basketball from here on out. So we'll let Coach out of the hot seat. We'll step away, come back, and the head coach of Tiger basketball, Brent Vernon, will join us here on Tiger Timeout.
We are champions of character.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Welcome back to Tiger Timeout here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we turn our attention over to Tiger basketball. The Tigers open this weekend. They get right into action before the calendar even rolls over into November. They will take to the road Columbia, Kentucky, a couple of non-conference matchups against St. Francis University, then Carolina University. The head coach, Brent Vernon, joins me now. Entering season number 8, Coach, another year upon us. Before we get into all that, let's talk about the offseason, a chance to kind of unwind a bit over the summer, get into recruiting. For you, in recent years, recruiting has been a real challenge. This year, kind of seemed like it went well early. You were getting guys that you really wanted, that you were after. That certainly makes the rest of the summer more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we had 8 or 9 guys we knew coming back, so your roster's, a little over halfway full and everything. So we had pinpointed some areas of guys that we had to bring in and some gaps we thought we needed to fill and get better at. And really, it was sort of filling in gaps and maybe even moving some pieces around a little bit. But, we were very fortunate to get 2 transfers early, and Cameron Vick and Marcellus Vale, both really good players, good young men, and honestly, pretty easy recruiting process. The Vick situation, we had a prior relationship with him, trying to get him a couple years ago out of junior college, and honestly, it was like a 36-hour turnaround. Conversation here or there, and next conversation, and it's done. And, excuse me, if you could script it, that's the way you do it most of the time. But so we knocked out a good piece there, and obviously Marcellus got him early. So we really hit the ground running and felt really good about the start that we had. And, for once, we didn't get into that late July, early August needing to sign 2 and 3, just needing to sign 1, and we filled the roster very well, I thought.
You get Cam Vick to come in, a guy that you expect to be able to handle the point guard role, and that'll allow you, as we kind of go through the roster a little bit, to move Keaston Brown off the ball. And you and I talking, it's not common knowledge, but that's a goal that you had very early on. It was something that you felt like Keaston Brown would be, I don't know, a better player, maybe you say more productive player, whatever, being off the ball, really shoot it, all of those things that go into being the point guard. But now he'll get to play off in a different role, and you think it's one that he'll excel at.
I do, and whenever we brought Keaston in now, 3 years ago, we knew he was a combo, could play a little bit of both, and then just with how certain things worked out, injuries and other things, he always was stuck having to play on the ball and having to play a lot of minutes on the ball. And he does so many things well, but shooting is one of the things, and whenever you're always getting the offense going and having to do so much, sometimes, it gets taken away from you a little bit. And he was more concerned on getting us in our offense and doing certain things. And so we didn't get to utilize him, I really don't think, offensively to what his absolute strengths are. And I think with the addition of Cameron Vick, Keaston will still play some 1, but a lot more off the ball and a lot more chances to really showcase how well he can shoot the ball for us this year.
And Cam Vick, a guy that Tiger fans are going to love, lightning fast. He can get to the rim. He can create all the things that you want from a point guard, I think. Yeah,
and we've been pleased. Again, like I said, we tried to recruit him a couple years ago and just missed out, and sort of got him, this last time around. And we'll even say not to downplay what we thought we had, maybe even a little more than what we thought we had. Ultimate competitor, can really guard the ball, very fast. It reminds me a lot of Tavion Mason with the ball. You think about Jalen Coates and how fast they were. The difference in Cam compared to them is when he gets going from the outside, man, he can really shoot the ball. And it wasn't what Tavi and Jalen were the best strengths. But he should be able to make the game a little easier for us, and that's something we've sort of lacked the last couple of years. So I do think it could be something that could really be enjoyable for our team.
And it's I don't want to forget anybody here, but we'll kind of comb the rest of what that guard spot might look like. And you get Javon Smith back now in his 3rd year. Jace Wallace, a guy that Tiger fans know that they can count on night in and night out. Jordan Graham as well. Cameron Willis is a sharpshooter that you get to see C-Dub, that ball is going to go up. And he got a really good shot at knocking down some big shots. Who else am I forgetting in that guard spot there?
Hopefully we'll get to see Darius Harding.
Yep.
He's had a rough go around. Played his first year, and at the end of the year found out was a lot more injured than we thought. Had some surgery and redshirted last year. He's now gone through 3 surgeries of different stuff with the knee. The last one was just recently, but he's really progressed in the last 2 weeks, and we're hoping to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and we got an eager young man, and he's one I really hurt for him because he's put a lot of time in, and he deserves to get this last year, and we're hoping for the best and just to keep progress and realize it's baby steps, but I believe we'll see 5 out there before it's all said and done.
I told Darius all the time, between the two of us, we have 2 good knees. It's not really what you want. Unfortunately for him, he's a high-level athlete. I'm not, so it certainly impacts him a little more. Let's step away here. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've still got some post players, some new names and faces down inside for Coach Vernon and the Tigers that we'll need to know about as they get ready to start their season this coming weekend down in Columbia as they take on St. Francis, 6 p.m. Eastern, the start time on Friday. Saturday, Carolina University awaits at 3 p.m. We'll step away and be right back here on Tiger Timeout.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
One final closeout segment here on the opening edition of Tiger Timeout. Here as the Tigers and Lady Tigers get set to begin their seasons. The Lady Tigers still another week to prepare. The Tigers action awaits them this weekend. Coach, we kind of go through the roster there, and we're talking about some of that guard spot. We'll get to these guys throughout the year, especially as they put up big performances and what have you. We do want to mention Kobe Penny. He was a guy in that guard spot. He's down, buried on the roster. We're in 23. I'm used to some of those guards being a little higher at the single-digit numbers and stuff. But Kobe's a guy that spent time at Bellarmine, took some time off, decided he missed it, wanted to get back into it, and here he is. So you've got a kid there that he's been out a little while, but he's hungry to get back and play competitive basketball.
He is, and it's going to take time, and probably a little more time than he wants. He's going to have some really good spurts probably early, but he's also going to have some ebbs and flows throughout it. But this is a young man who had a stellar Kentucky high school career at Anderson County, averaged in the mid-20s. Was All-State, Kentucky All-Star, all of that stuff. Went to Bellarmine, was the 6th man on their 32-5 team, and just an unbelievable program that Coach Davenport has. And like I said, decided he needed to take a break, and he's been out for 3 years, and that's the difference. Not quite in basketball shape, but is getting better every single day. But even not in basketball shape, man, he does some stuff in practice that you can just see the potential and how it comes. And what I see this year is a guy who's going to have a very good year for us, but as he continues to work and progress, it'll be something special, I think, next year. But great basketball IQ, just a great player all around, and a great young man.
Maybe one of the latest additions. He and Tyrell Hunt were probably
Kobe
the last
was one.
two.
It was sort of like the Cam Vick and Marcellus. He comes on a visit, had been out for a while, worked out. By the end of the workout, he was a Tiger. I mean, one of those things that you wish all the recruiting process was as easy as that one was.
Yeah, I think smoke blowing is what they call that. There was no smoke blowing for some of these guys. And some of the recruiting process, the post, you get Jay Milburn back, you have Chandler Clements back. You still knew you needed a few guys there to come in and help out. You got it. Noah Gordon earlier in the offseason, Tyrell Hunt a little later, and 2 guys there can certainly help take up some of those minutes down low.
Yeah, both very talented. We got Noah first, and Noah was a young man who actually played junior college basketball with Jordan Graham at Olney Central for his freshman year and had a very good year. They had a coaching change, and he ended up going to Moberly Community College, which is nationally top 10 in the program, coached by Pat Smith, one of the best nationally. Started every game for a top 10 program. They play extremely fast, a lot of pressing. His numbers were just okay, not as good as his freshman year, but we really liked what we saw from all the film we watched. A young man that's actually from Shelby County, Kentucky, but finished his high school career in Indiana. Got him on a visit, talked to him, and it was done about a week later, and really proved to us some things that he set himself out to achieve. And, he came in a little overweight during the visit, but his skill set, you could tell, is really good. And we talked, and he's like, Coach, don't worry about it. I'm going to come in at a good weight. Came in about 27 pounds lighter than what he was on the visit, and he's really done a nice job. Still, I think from the previous year of maybe a little confidence being taken away, working through some things, but again, offensively is way better than we thought we were getting. And whenever he figures our system out just a little bit more, I think you'll see a lot of bright things from him. And
then Tyrell Hunt, a guy that you got, he's Midwestern kid.
Yes.
Spent time out west at East LA College, and he finds a home here at Campbellsville University.
Yeah, Chicago kid, ended up getting out into a prep school in Nevada, ended up at East LA where Malik Muhammad we got last year, and it was one of those. It was midsummer. He was hoping to get more of the D1 looks than he was, and Coach John reached out to me and said, hey, I've got one late that I think would be really good. I know things went well with Malik out there. He would love to get a little closer to home. Obviously, Kentucky's a little closer than LA from Chicago. And a little bit of talking with him and his mentor and coach throughout the process, and we got that done. And Tyrell's one, he's got sort of an old school game, a bit of an undersized post, really, really good in the mid-range. Very high basketball IQ. Not one of those guys that sometimes you see from junior college as he's a high flyer, special athlete. No, he wants to know the intricacies. Why are we doing what we're doing and all that stuff? So his IQ is really good. He tries to be perfect, which sometimes is great, but no one is. But he really, really goes above and beyond of trying to do what we're asking. And again, as time goes and he figures out his role and the ebbs and flow of things, I think he could be very, very good for us.
Yeah, the most important question awaiting Tyrell Hunt is he a Cubs or a White Sox fan? We'll have to do it.
It's a great question.
And get to the bottom of that, Coach. That's important for me. But here this weekend, you guys open up. You go to Columbia, and not a home game, but it's as close as you could possibly have a home game. It's a familiar setting for most of your roster. I think that has to be beneficial. St. Francis, a team coming in off 3 20-win seasons prior to last year. They had some bad luck late in their process, losing a player or two, and kind of challenge them. That's something that you've been familiar with over the last couple of years as well. So 2 clubs looking to get back going the direction that they're used to. Right. It's going to be a fun one to open the year.
It is. I've always thought, especially since the divisions went 1, Mid-South and Crossroads, I really thought were 2 of the best conferences in America. And so opening up with a team from that conference is going to be a very, very tough task. And like you said, I think 2-3 years ago they were Sweet 16 or Final Four, Elite 8, and then the year after that they were Final Four. It was right there. Last year it was a Jekyll and Hyde for them. They ended up getting their All-American point guard back during the summer who had entered the portal and wanted to go higher level, but then they lost an All-American big about a week before school. And I really think that was a big thing for them. It's something that they're relying on a guy who had put up impressive numbers, and then they had to figure other things out and change some things. So better than they are from what they were last year. There's no doubt about it. They returned some good players. They brought in some good players. So it's going to be an extremely tough contest.
The Tigers open this weekend in Columbia, Kentucky, Lindsey Wilson College, St. Francis, Friday evening, 6 p.m. I'll have it on 88.7 The Tigers. Saturday, Carolina University, 3 o'clock start in the bigger sports center as well. Coach, best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
It's basketball season. I'm glad to be back. The Tigers and Lady Tigers firing up. We'll have complete coverage throughout the year here on Tiger Timeout. Thanks for joining us this week for the head coach, Brent Vernon, and Ginger High Colvin as well. We'll see you next time on Tiger Timeout.